Hello, friends and fam. Welcome back to another episode of More Than Friends. Sorry it's been a minute. Had Benjamin the last couple Wednesdays and weekends, and just wasn't going to happen with him around. I did try when I had to go pick him up that first Wednesday to do a recording, and it just turned out terrible. So, tonight we will finally do the Christopher story. So for those of you who don't know, Christopher is Benjamin's dad. This story, I will preface it with saying that I am a big, firm believer that if people wanted you to talk better about them, they should act better, do better. And I will say that the story itself is it's a bit harsh. Not quite as harsh as the Levi story, but it's harsh, and it does have a good ending though. So, with that, I can't really tell the Christopher story without first kind of dabbling in the Tyler Charlie story. Tyler was a 4-year relationship I was in, and when that relationship ended, and he will get his own More Than Friends. But when that relationship ended, I moved back to Casper and pretty much immediately met Charlie. I was ready to date. Tyler and I had been fizzling out for a while. We actually broke up that October, I believe it was, and I stayed because he didn't want to ruin Christmas and da-da-da-da. So anyways, I was ready to date. And I met Charlie. We had a 3-month relationship that ended, and at that point I was like, no more. I am just gonna have fun for a while. I will still go on dates, but I'm gonna have fun, and I'm not gonna get too serious about dating for a good minute. And that's when I met Christopher, and we talked a little. He had kind of weirded me out at first. I was like, I'm getting bad vibes from you. But he asked me to go on a date with him, and we could meet at a public place. So I felt more comfortable. And so we met at, I can't remember what it was called at that point, but it was just like a little kind of like block party type of thing. They had like a band and food vendors, stuff like that. And I went there, and we hit it off. It was great. We joked around. We held hands. We had some drinks, and we ended up going to a bar after that. And one thing that really, I guess, attracted me to Christopher is especially if I'm in a very small place, which this bar that we were at was very small. I get very anxious when it starts to get crowded. And so when we first got there, it wasn't that crowded. We were having a good time. We had some more drinks. And as the night went on, it just started getting and I was like looking around, and I think he like noticed my anxiety, and he's like, "Do you want to get out of here?" And I was like, "Yes, please." And the fact that he noticed that, it was very, I don't know, it was very appreciated. And a lot of people that I even date and stuff, they don't take those cues from me. And so for him to recognize that and be like, "Hey, let's get out of here. We don't have to stay here." From that point, we had about a week-long fling. It was nothing too serious, and we kind of just we still were hanging out, but not much. We would still talk, but not much. And then I let's see, I track my menstrual cycle very closely, so I know when I'm supposed to start and not start. I'm pretty regular. I was only like 2 or 3 weeks pregnant when I took a test because I was late to find out that I was pregnant. So I had to go tell this man that I barely knew that I was having his child. And he handled it very well. And he said, "We've got this. We could do this. We're going to be fine." And so leaving our conversation, I was under the impression we were going to try to date and see where it went because we were having a child together. I think looking back, I probably just misinterpreted, or maybe I was misled. I don't know which one. But regardless, there was another woman he was chasing, and that he had been for a while. And I was just a fling to him too, I think. I don't know. He never has and never would probably tell me that. But it was a troubling time. I was trying to be with this person and he wanted to be with somebody else. He started ignoring me. He started being very distant. He would say things like, I'm here to support you in whatever way I need to, but that's all I can do. Like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, I don't know. Like, I got to a point where I begged him, like, I don't care if there's somebody else, just choose me, please. A little bit different from like my Levi situation. With Levi, I loved him, so it was very hard for him to leave and abandon me. With Christopher, I wasn't in love with him, and he was absolutely not the right person for me. I knew this, but I hadn't been a new mom for, at that time, it was 16 years. I was freaking out. I was scared. And, obviously it turned out all right. But we were very distant for a while. He would come to the doctor's appointments and leave immediately after. He didn't want to talk to me or have much to do with me. And it hurt a lot. I'm used to this game already. But there was a time, so Christopher at least was a big drinker. I don't know if he really is anymore, but he was at that time. And he had called me and said some things that made me think that he might hurt himself. So I called the police. The police went over there. He said to leave him alone, so we can't really do anything. And so I left work and went to show up at his house. And at this time, I don't think Christopher had a whole lot of respect for me. He thought I was somebody that he could easily walk all over. Well, pregnant, bitchy Crystal showed up at his house, and I walk in the door, and he immediately just says, "No, we're not doing this." And I said, "The fuck we aren't." And I followed him out the door. And I had my car keys because he was walking away from me, and I was boiled. And so I had my car keys in my hand and I threw them down. I actually threw them so hard that set of keys still doesn't work. I could probably go get them fixed, but every time I put them in my car now, it says it does the anti-theft thing and locks up, and it's terrible. So, but I threw down my keys and I just pushed him as hard as I can. And I actually have a picture of like his hands sliding across his hood of his car. And so he slid on to his car, and then I grabbed him and I threw him against the wall of this building, and I pinned him, and I said, "You're not going to fucking do this to me anymore. You can't treat me like this." And it was kind of a turning point in our relationship. Because I think that showed him, like, I am a very nice person until somebody just really fucks with me. There's a line in a movie that says, "I'm sweet as cherry pie, just don't fucking cross me." That's about the sum of me, I take a lot of shit, and it does really take a lot to get me to a point where I'm like that, but especially when I'm pregnant, like, don't be pushing my buttons. But it was a turning point, and we became more friendly. We started hanging out a little bit more. I had Benjamin, and Christopher stayed with me. It was either a week or 2 weeks after I had Benjamin, just to help out, just to be there for me. So I could take showers and stuff like that, and there would be somebody here. And I'm very grateful for that. He really ended up stepping it up. He helped me with things that, like, the little bit of things that I was still kind of missing before Benjamin got here. The bathtub, I remember, and the camera were things that he ended up helping me purchase. And I don't know, it just really turned out all right. And you know, even now we co-parent well. He has Benjamin Wednesday nights and every other weekend, and it's working out fine for us. He has a girlfriend that is around Benjamin a lot, and she's amazing with him. I think that co-parenting is important. Having said that, I don't know how that's going to go with my current situation, but as far as Christopher goes, it turned out all right. I wish I hadn't have gone through the things that I did when I was pregnant. That's actually when I started taking my antidepressants that I'm currently still on. When he first walked away from me, I was so depressed. I didn't eat for a week. I couldn't. I just gagged, and I had to tell my doctor. And of course I was crying every time I went in because I'm a big baby. And that's when my doctor at the time put me on antidepressants, which did help. After a week or so, I was able to eat without gagging. So it's important for me to tell this story in particular because, like I said, with Levi, I was in love, and I thought he was too. Obviously that was not true. But with Christopher, like, there wasn't. he was a week, couple night stands. A week stand? What do you call that? I don't know. He was funsies, and I had a little bit too much fun. And that's gonna happen in life, you know? It's just one of those things. I was pretty harsh on myself at first for that, because I mean, I know the societal norms and how people look at women who get, and it's so old, and I don't know, I'm outdated, I believe, but you know, the out of wedlock pregnancies. I was only married when I got pregnant with Nicholas, and back at that time, I thought, like, I'm doing all the right things, and it still went wrong. Now I'm doing all the wrong things. I'm doing what I want. Neither here nor there. Anyways, that's the Christopher story. There's a lot more to it, really, but also I'm pregnant and my brain doesn't work. And I'm tired. I'm post-shower, as you can tell. My hair is just slowly drying. It's been a long couple of weeks. I do appreciate these nights. I mean, I love my Benjamin so much, but I am so grateful that I have a night where he's with his dad and I can get a good night's sleep. He's a wicked sleeper. Anyways, I have my jar here. I did pull out a name when I made the other video, and we'll see if it's a different name, because I have to redraw, right? I have to draw on camera. Let's see who we got here. Oh! That's convenient. Tyler. So Tyler will be the next More Than Friends. I appreciate you for listening to this story. Christopher and I were more than friends, and now we are co-parents. So, have a wonderful night, and I love you all.